Right, long time no talk. I mean, this video has been, it's been a while, so I'll cut straight to the chase. I've been rehearsing it in my head of what the hell went down between me and my neighbours. I have been having like the last 3 years of trouble. So the last 3 years since I've moved into this house, I have had nothing but shit from these neighbours. And I'm going through what happened with the big, when I had to get the police involved. So, because I'm already out of breath walking to here. So the first thing was, I'm building away in my bedroom, making the bumps. If you remember that video I did a while back of the Imperial Dalek, of when I was making them 7cm hemispheres. And I was doing that while listening to music. And I thought, you know, nothing of it. And then all of a sudden, you know, we're all settled, I'm just doing my thing. Massive thump at the door. And I was like, so then my dogs got alerted by it. They started barking, getting worried. So I quickly went downstairs, put them in the cage, because I don't answer the front door. I have told many people this, I don't answer the front one. So I then opened the door, they're barking and everything, which isn't helping. And yeah, that's where it all kicked off. So then, you know, it's the last and his boyfriend or whatever. And I think this time it was, they were trying to intimidate me, but it wasn't working. So, you know, I opened the door, I am just getting thrown with abuse and everything. And I'm like, what have I done wrong? And they're like, you've done fiberglass in that house again, haven't you? And obviously, me being honest, I'm like, no, I haven't. I've done it in the, there's an actual Dalmatian. Might have to even, there's a Dalmatian up ahead. Where are they? Because I've taken that many pictures of them.
Oh, it's very nice.
So there's a Penny when I put a jumper on.
Oh, yeah. Look at that, Erin.
So that's Penny, and then Oddball.
Oddball, I like that.
I was going to go with D names, but I got. So after all that, and after an incident, which I'll probably cut out, yeah, I just crashed his bike. I can't even remember where I was left off. I think it was the bit where they got me to the door. So I'm like, well, what have I done wrong? And they're like, you fiberglassed in that house again, haven't you? And I'm like, no, I've done it in the garden, because the last time we had a chat, you know, you pulled me out before, in a polite way, and asked me if I had done it. But they were being funny, because when they noticed when I did it in the living room, I opened the window and we have like a main street. So obviously they've passed by and smelt it. That the only one time I did it in the house, and they had words with me, you know, what were you doing, what's that smell? I said, oh, I'm just fiberglassing, I do it once a blue moon, you know. And as the weather's a bit crap, I thought I'll do it in the house, you know, it's not too bad. Well, it's just, we can smell it, it's very strong, sort of thing. I went, oh, all right. So I said I'll do it in the garden then, you know, when I can. So that, after that, we left on that, and they said, thank you for, the exact words, thank you for confirming, or something like that, as if like, right, now we know that you're doing it, you're doing fiberglass. Which is funny and ironic, because, you know, I had been doing little bits here and there in the kitchen years, you know, like the last year, and they never said anything. So I'm like, alright, so you've smelt it through the window. And they, you know, came to the door and said, oh, that's bad, that, you know. And she said, oh, he's got his windows closed now. So it was like they were trying to stir things up. But going from that was like a month before all the shit that happened. And yeah, so I would basically, you've done it again. We told you not to do it. It's illegal. You need a permit, you need a license. I'm like, no, you don't. If I know anything about this, you don't need to do that. You do. If you're doing it in a house, it's not a workshop. And he was getting very vocal and very angry about it. And I'm like, you're not going to intimidate me. I'm sorry. You can try all you might, but I know what my rights are. I'm doing nothing wrong. I've done it in the garden. There's no problem with that. You've even said, as I quote, it was if you were to spray aerosol through my letterbox, basically. And then they've been making jokes, like, not to my face, but I overheard them. Put a lighter through his door, do this, you know. You've got pointing to the door. What's behind this door? I'm like, the Dalek, you know. That's why I don't answer the door. I put the Dalek in the way. That's a lie. I've seen you put barrels and stuff. I'm like, no. There's a barrel with hemispheres in it, but all I've got behind the door is the Dalek. And they weren't believing me. So they were shouting, giving me grief, and all this. And obviously where I live, it doesn't look like a good look when they're saying, you're disgusting, you're this. What? I'm like, what, for fiberglassing in my garden? What's wrong with that? So obviously my mum's on the phone. I guess you could say she was a kind of a witness, because she could hear it all this verbal abuse I was getting from him. And I'm like, so I was like, so how do you want to resolve it? Shall we get the police involved? Because I'm happy to go down that route. And obviously, hello. You know, he was getting more and more built up. Like, he was really trying to intimidate me. And I'm like, I didn't say anything to him, but I'm like, they said, if you do it one more time, if we find out you do it one more time, I'm going to go mental. And then that was when I then peaked. I thought, oh, is that a threat? And he sort of stumbled on his words, and he was like, probably shouldn't have said that. I'm like, well, if you're going to be making threats like that, shall we get the police involved? Because I'm you know, you're going to go mental over me just having a hobby and doing nothing illegal. So it kind of then, they were then going in. They said, we're not talking to you, we're gonna call the police. And she didn't know what number to call, and I told her it's 101 for a non-emergency. And she didn't like that I replied with that. And then I tried getting on the phone to the police. Well, my mum's on the phone, but not on speaker, so I'm hearing nothing. She's shouting down the phone and can't get to me. So eventually, you know, they go in. They say, we're going to report you to the environmental. I'm like, good, go ahead. From what I know, I'm done, nothing wrong. They go into their house. After all that, before he said, before that, the other thing was, is this, or cutting me off every time, is this or is this not a house? Yeah, no buts, you know, it's not a workshop, you shouldn't be fucking doing anything, you're a stupid cunt, you're everything basically. I'm like, right, that's nice. And obviously I can't remember which leg, I have anxiety. So I wasn't taking it very well, but I held my ground. My mum said, I'm kind of surprised you didn't go off on one and swear at him. I'm like, well, I've done nothing wrong. There's no reason to get angry for something that I've done nothing wrong. So, it not resolved, but they went in, not 2 minutes later, so my mum's like, I'm sending Ben round, don't put me down. I said, Mum, I need to call the police because something needs to get resolved here. So then she calls Ben, he comes round on his bike asking how I am, because obviously she's not here at the minute, she's worried for me. I'm like, I'm fine, I just, you know, I don't know what to do. I said, I've called the police. They're not really going to take the matter, but they said they'll give me like a meeting, like online meeting, which I did do, and I've done it twice. And I'm like, so not 2 minutes later, the other neighbours, these newer ones, but they've been there now, they're not really new anymore. 2 neighbours came by, parked their car, you know, smiling, exchanging. I said, I know this is our first time meeting, but can you go in your house and see if you can smell anything strong, anything that's not normal? And I said, all right, and I basically gave a brief overview of what's just gone on. But again, never trust people that you don't fully know, because I'll get to it. But they came out maybe a minute later saying, no, we can't smell nothing, no. I said, so it's funny how they can smell something in their house. Oh, and the other bit, I've gone from it. They invited me into their house when they were getting angry, and he said, get in this house, get in and see if you can smell it. And I went in, I was hesitant at first, but I went in, and I went, no, I can't. Get the fuck out of our house, you can smell it, you're lying to us. So that was another big major thing. I remember things in different order. So I said to these neighbours, I just don't understand. Why can you not smell it and next door can smell it? But I knew what they were playing the game of, because he parks his van round the back and our gardens are at the back. He smelled it there, so he's like, right, he's done it again, so let's make it out as if he's done it in the house and let's stir up shit again. So I wasn't having it. So I said, you know, I went in after that. Ben went home, the neighbours went in, but then maybe 2 minutes she came back out, the neighbour who was just having his thing, and basically gossiping to next door to me. And then why I was saying don't trust any of your neighbours, because the other neighbours were, apart from, it's not the men mainly, it's the women, without sounding sexist, and I know people are going to say that, but from experience, the women just thrive off this, because it's different. It's a guy building Daleks, and it's some shouting going off on the street, and they were basically being best buddies. She's like, oh, this is exciting, isn't it? Oh, you know. And then, you know, because again, there's two sides to every story, but I'm being as honest as possible. These neighbours have just done everything under the sun, which they shouldn't have been doing. Going through my bins, looking through my windows, saying that I'm making bombs. Just the most ridiculous things when I'm just building props. And I think the reason why they do all this is, they mentioned when I first met them, before all this happened, I should have kept my mouth shut when I first moved to this house. I met her on the first day and we got along like we were like good friends. And I said, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to cause trouble, you know, I'm just quiet, I keep to myself. And they said, oh, we had to move because our last neighbours were trouble. And the more I think about it, and people have told me, it sounds like they're the trouble neighbours. If they can't get their own way, they'll try and then poke and prod at someone that's not doing what they want, because it seems to be, as one of my friends said on Facebook, it sounds like a one-way street, which it does more or less sound like nowadays. So after all that, I came back out. I said, I've just been on the phone call. And she's like, get back in your house, we don't want to talk to you. Well, I'm just letting you know, I've got the police, you know, that I'm going to be having an interview explaining everything. And then after all that, pretty much, I had the interview, and she was like, well, before that, remembering it in order on again, she was basically not tormenting me, like just trying to get to me with the tone of her voice, because she was like, are you on the phone to the police again, like in a baby, you know, tone. I'm like, yeah, what, a bit older than me, you think you can just get to me like that and acting like a child about it? A grown-ass woman putting on a baby voice, are you calling the police again? I'm like, look, I've got the police involved, I'm going to try and get it resolved, because I know what I'm doing isn't wrong. So after all that, it pretty much got resolved once I got the police involved. They had gone out to their home, because he had come home early. I just came back after work, I saw him, and he looked at me and he went, you know, that sort of thing, like, as if you've just done that. I didn't know what had gone on. And the only reason why I know that they've, well, the police did eventually tell me, we've been to the house. They asked me how I want to resolve this. I said, well, I want to put it down as a harassment crime, because from day one, they've asked me to do these different things, tell me not to get up at a certain time, go to bed at this, trying to brainwash me and, you know, condition me into how their life is. Just because after a long week, they want to do nothing. I want to do something, and I'm like, so they've been conditioning me what time they want me to get up, getting on at me at my dogs, even though the new neighbours, their dogs go off, and I'm like, if you wanted to have them as neighbours, and they're coming home at like 10 o'clock, slamming drawers and stuff like that, but I have to live with it. I'm not going to cause a scene, because as my mum said, you don't want to, you know, do too much. Just keep to what's going on with the first neighbours, because in a minute it doesn't bother me too much, but their dog, as soon as they go out, their dog has separation anxiety. My two only do it when they're separated. After we've been on a walk, they're pretty much chill. After that, they've just got bad separation anxiety from each other. Once I've done my walk, they're chill throughout the day. But I'm like, with their dog though, as soon as they go out, it's got really bad stress. And like I say, coming home at 10 o'clock, Like, you should be settling down at like at least 7, not coming through your door at 10 and then waking up other neighbours when they're up at 20 past 4 in the morning. But obviously, you know, I'm keeping to myself at the minute, so I've got it resolved. And the reason why I knew about having the police at the house, I used to have my windows open because it was the summer when this happened, and when I went to my bedroom, the window were open and I could hear him come out for just like a split second, and she just said, mumbled like under her breath to make sure I could hear her, I don't care that he gets the police onto us. I don't like the fact he's building bombs in that house. I went straight back into their home so I could hear him. I'm like, why else did they come out onto the street to say that? And I'm there laughing, thinking, you are so, you know, it's just laughable that what I'm going through. You wouldn't believe what I've been going through. So then I've been told, get cameras by friends, police. Since I put cameras up, I think they didn't realise at first, because like I say, they were then getting people involved, other neighbours, chatting to him, gossiping, and then that's when they were going through my bins, mocking me for what I do. Oh, he's young, he's using epoxy, who does he think he is, what a liar, and this, that and the other. And I'm like, he makes Daleks, he's, you know, just anything. But it ain't got to me, because I'm not bothered. I get on with my life. I'm just quiet and to myself. I ain't got time for it. I work, is it 40 plus hours nowadays? And, you know, I'm trying to keep a roof over my head and keep a house. And every time I come down this path, it starts getting windy. So, yeah, that's basically, and I'm zooming in way too fast, that's basically what happened. It's sort of chilled over time. As I mentioned, they went through my bins. Why is it always this field? It's because it's all open. They went through my bins, doing things that they shouldn't, and then recently, I've only got a few minutes, recently they then started parking the car, being a nuisance. I haven't said anything yet to the police, but I've been keeping a journal and writing to, well, not writing, mentioning things over 101, basically keeping a document so they have more to go off. So I've took pictures, basically parking their cars way too close. And the other thing was, they got 2 new ones. I don't know if they rent cars and then upgrade to the next one. There was one point where they had 4 vehicles. He always parks his van near the garage, which is a bit concerning. What's he hiding in there? Because they always have to park a car or something in front of that garage. And yeah, and then they were being cheeky by basically parking on someone else's bit of land, which they shouldn't be doing. I was told when William H. Brown told me I can do whatever I want on that bit, but you cannot stop people's access. And then they're deliberately parking 2 vehicles, like literally a 30cm gap. I'm like, well, I couldn't get a bin, so I had to lift it over when it had been emptied, but I kept taking pictures. So to basically wrap it all up, that's the recent thing. And then the most recent thing, I haven't said anything yet, but I'm like, they're trying to stir shit up again, because I saw them on the morning in the rain. I was hawking penny. They're up the ginnel of our shared bit, and they say, morning. I'm like, I didn't say nothing, didn't look at them, nothing. I thought, you're trying to stir shit up because you've been told not to engage with me. So I'm not talking to him, not getting involved. I will be doing the police box this coming month with the weather. I've been told I'm doing nothing wrong. And before this concludes, because this is about to die, the last bit I'll explain what environmental said. So I've got another 14 minutes because I'm having to delete footage. So the thing about environmental is, long story short, they thought I was burning chemicals in my garden, and I had to basically explain what fiberglass was. But you would have thought these people who were writing letters saying complaints of fiberglass fumes or something like that, which the very first letter was something about dogs and fiberglass. Then the second one was about, I can't remember now, I've kept them all. And then the recent one was complaints of chemicals burning. And I'm like, right, I'm having this, and it's been the last call that I've had since, because I think I pretty much cleared things up. So I ring her and she's like, oh, hello Mr. Cadona, you know, we've had another reply, and I'm like, right, how many times is this just going to keep happening and you're not going to come out? And I've said I'll give a demo and show you what I'm doing. I said, what am I doing? Yes, but we've had complaints of you burning chemicals in your yard. I'm like, no. And I was really getting quite upset at this point. I was like, who's saying that I'm burning chemicals? Oh, well, we can't tell you. I said, well, I know who it is for a fact. Well, you can't be certain. I said, I know who it is, because they told me that they're going to report me, and who else am I having problems with? So she was like, but if we've got a case, we have to act upon it, that if you're burning chemicals. And I said, right, I'll stop you right there. I am not burning chemicals. And I had to explain what fiberglass is, and I gave her a list of the materials. I said, if you need to look it up on YouTube, and you will see what this stuff is. It does give a strong chemical smell, but I'm not burning anything in a drum or anything like that. So I gave her a list. I said, there's polyester resin, the fiberglass mat. In no way am I burning anything. These people are just being funny for trying to stop me. And as soon as I mentioned all that, I said, if you look into it, you'll see there's demos on the internet of people making things in the garden, conservatory. Please have a look at it, because I think I'm doing nothing wrong. And she went, oh, okay. Well, I'll get onto that. I said, can I also... And I sounded like a Karen. I said, you know what, because you've not done anything, can I speak to someone who's higher up? Because I want to get this resolved. Because I've told you time and time again, I've got footage, I've got evidence, and you're not listening to me. They keep putting in words of complaints, but where's the evidence? Why are you... And I was going to say to her, you know this is all bullshit. You know, you kept coming to me, a lad who's just building things. You've even took into account that I'm on the spectrum and going through my... because you could tell by my tone and everything and what I do, so it's not an everyday occurrence. So you've got that in the books. You know, you took that quite respectfully, because you said, oh, I understand because my granddaughter's got this. So I'm like, so why would I look like a nuisance when all I'm trying to do is just build some Daleks? What's the problem? I said, is it not the fact that these neighbours have just got something against me? And it's been going on for 3 years, and obviously she's not listening to it. She's just, I can't take sides, you know, I can only be biased. I think that's the word, where you don't pick sides. I'm like, well, it sounds like you're more or less taking their side, because you keep taking their information. They keep complaining about 1 minute's dogs, 1 minute's fiberglass, 1 minute's this, that and the other. So why is it when I said I've got tons of footage that you're not listening to me, that you're not taking it seriously? I said, if you're not going to take it seriously, then I want to speak to someone higher up, because I've told you to come round here. I'll give a demo on a Saturday at the weekend when I'm at home. There's not much I can do when I'm out at work. It's my only time to have freedom. What is the problem? So as soon as I mentioned all the materials, gave her a list. She said she'd have a look at it. I said, as soon as you see what I'm doing, there shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to carry on what I'm doing because I know there's nothing wrong. The police aren't interested. So if the police aren't interested in it, what's the big deal? And she quickly wanted to get off the phone saying, I'll look into it and someone will call you soon about it. So since then, I think it has been resolved, because I haven't had another letter through the door. The neighbours are now trying to be on my good side, or their sneaky little plan is, because I know what they are. They're narcissists. Want things, everything their way, thinking they can condition people to how they want things, and it's not gonna fly with me. I'm my own person. I'm gonna do what I want. I don't care. I'm doing nothing wrong until I'm doing something wrong, which is ironic because they are doing something wrong, smoking weed in their garage, and that smells, and the other neighbours have complained about it, saying, oh, it's, you know, they've done skunk in their house and I've smelt it. But, you know, I'm like, it's just ironic. It's people like that who are deflecting. That's the rule. That's the fucking thing. People who are deflecting are always trying to hide what they're doing. Oh, look at this guy, look what he's doing. Like pushing the blame onto someone else. I see through your bullshit. I see who you really are. So whether trying to morning, I'm like, fuck off. I'm not talking to you. You're not giving me 3 years of fucking hell and then thinking you can make it out as if nothing's wrong because you've been told off. You've been told maybe to leave me alone. You've been told by other neighbours, get off my patch of land, probably, because the cars have stopped parking there now. Because that is fucking greedy. 3 vehicles in one space on someone else's patch of land. So I know I would get a bit annoyed with it. Oh, it's all fucking muddy here. Lasses in front have got an idea. Walk on the grass. So yeah. That's basically the what's been going on with these. Well, they're not even neighbours, they're more like nightmare neighbours than anything. So, no idea what to say now, but basically you know what's been going on. Twats, basically. How about this for an everyday appearance? You don't see this, do you? Yeah. You know the world's going to shit when you see shit like this. Wasn't expecting this on my journey. Very bizarre. Literally, well, that's way home, but yeah. That's the first time I've ever seen something like that in person.